Today I'm off to Skellig Michael, one of the most impressive places along the whole of the Wild Atlantic Way in Ireland. In the distance there is Portmagee. I'm leaving harbour. We're on a very small boat for a landing today on the Skelligs. The boats hadn't run for about a week, and as we left the sheltered waters between Valencia Island and Portmagee, it got quite choppy. So choppy, in fact, that I had to put my phone away for fear of dropping it and it washing off the side of the boat. After about half an hour of bobbing up and down, driving through quite big waves, we came round the north of the Skellig, round to the more sheltered south side here. I'd paid for a landing today, and that money all goes to help conserve the Skelligs. On top of that, there's the boat costs and a booking fee. If the boats don't run, you do get your money back for the whole trip, less the booking fee. If you're unable to land, you get that part of the money back. I'd paid to land, and it was quite a bit of money. I think I spent 120 odd pounds to be able to land on the Skelligs, but it was an experience of a lifetime. On the trip out, I'd chatted to a guy who was from Galicia, a part of Spain, and he was telling me that his family were all fishermen and it wasn't that rough. Funny enough, he was the first one to throw up. Quite a few tour boats go out, and here we are just looking at Little Skellig and back at the Kerry mainland and the Kerry cliffs while we wait for our turn to dock. It's not a full docking system. The skipper keeps the boat on full revs while one of his crew members, or the only crew member, holds the boat tightly to the ropes so that we can all get off. It's not something that you could do if you're in a wheelchair, and it's quite an experience. What a glorious seascape and the shades of grey. I will leave a link in the description below about the history of the Skelligs. I'm aware that monks built the steps and the monastery at the top over 1,000 years ago. The crew member who doubled up as a guide was telling us about Skellig rain. Basically, puffin shit. I was lucky enough to escape the rain. The guide wasn't so lucky. I've been fortunate enough to encounter puffins before on Skellig off the Welsh coast, and I noticed that gulls are often waiting for a puffin to come back with fish, and then it'll mob it and try and steal the fish. Or whatever the puffin has caught. It might be eels. We had to all wait at the bottom of the stair climb to be given a brief instructions about what to do climbing the steps and what not to do. There are very few handrails, and in some places only a chain to hold on as you cross very narrow paths. You had to be very careful when taking photographs and not get in people's way and cause dangerous situations. My fitness on this trip wasn't particularly good, so I waited and let everybody go first before I walked up at my own pace, knowing I could stop, take a few photos and not cause any problems for other people. This is simply magical, but I was very, very nervous walking across bits like this. I don't have a head for heights whatsoever. I've never seen the particular Star Wars film in question, but this is where Luke Skywalker was living, with Little Skellig in the background. By the time I'd got to the top, it was extremely busy, and it was time for me to head down first so that I could go down again on my own pace. There was a portaloo on the island, as you can see in the picture there. Quite surprising. In Sceilg I'd experienced puffins walking just inches away from your feet. Here I'm a foot away from this puffin, who's not paying any attention to me whatsoever. I visited at the end of June, and there were plenty of puffins on the island. I'm not sure when they leave, probably end of July, or is it in August? So if you want to see puffins up close and visit the Skelligs, make sure you do it May, June, July time. I had plenty of time to kill on the island once I'd come down first, waiting for all the others and our boat pickup scheduled time. So I took some photographs and just chilled out. It was a lovely, lovely place to be. There were quite a few boats visiting today, and you can see the skippers in their boats just waiting for their pickup times. This boat looked like the one I came out on, but I can't be 100%. Some trips just come out, view the Skelligs for a little while before heading home. The non-landing version costs about £40–45. After boarding our boat, the crew realised we were missing a couple of people. So rather than take up the berth, getting everybody else's way, we had to go out again, bob up and down for 10 minutes and wait for them to appear on the jetty. The jetty is on the southeast side of Skellig Michael and is a lot more sheltered. There's the name of the Star Wars film that I've not seen. With all our passengers safely aboard, we headed for Little Skellig. There's no landing on Little Skellig, but we'll have a little look round it, get some photo and video opportunities before we head back to Portmagee. Little Skellig is clearly a haven for bird life. Some impressive geology here that reminds me of a few other places. There's a place on the east coast of Scotland that looks kind of like that. Now it was time to take the 9-mile journey back to port. The Skelligs are 7 miles off the coast of Kerry, and Portmagee's in the sheltered sound between Valentia Island and County Kerry. There was certainly some serious rolling of the boat as we headed back to port. Travelling on my own, it was hard to get a lot of photos that I really wanted from this trip. On the way out, I'd been quite nervous, heading into the unknown, thinking these waves are bad and it'd stopped the boat running for the previous week. But on the way back, I was a lot more confident going towards port at quite a good speed, so I know we were breaking through a lot of these waves. The weather of the few days after this was too bad again, so I got really lucky. I'd booked this trip about a month or two in advance, and unless you book in advance, they're all booked up, and if you wait for the weather, it'll be too late. So you have to take the chance and hope that you can get to go and land on the Skelligs. If you're only on a short trip to Ireland and you want to visit these, it's just pure luck whether you'll get out there or not. This is the final part of my second trip to Ireland and the Wild Atlantic Way. This is before I headed home in the summer of 2023. Now I do plan on revisiting in the winter of 2024, so in about 6 to 7 weeks time from the upload of this video, I hope to be getting out here again, not to the Skelligs but to the Wild Atlantic Way, and in winter I'm sure it does get quite wild. If you are interested in seeing more videos from the Wild Atlantic Way, I've made about 20 in total, and they're available on my channel from Kinsale in the south near Cork, right up to Doolin and the Aran Islands. I also spent some time in Galway, then I headed up to Northern Ireland before I headed home. So I still have approximately half the Wild Atlantic Way to do, from Galway right up to Derry in the north. Over the next few weeks of January and February, I will be improving my SUV camper with some new modifications and a diesel heater to bear the winter. It will also give me the time to save the pennies I need to get out to Ireland again. I will also have some other videos, some review videos and some tests of a power station and various other things that I've encountered just recently. And all going well, both health-wise, finance-wise and time-wise. I'll be back in Ireland end of February 2024, filming a more vlog style, a contemporaneously updated vlog, and not 6 months later like you're currently watching. On the way out, I'd sat like this with my feet against the side to keep me in my seat from the bouncing up and down. And I could have done with that now because it started to get really, really rough. I would assume it's because we're approaching the gap between Kerry and Valencia Island, and as the waves diffract round the headland and meet other currents. On the other side of the boat was Valencia Island and Bray Head, where I've been in a previous video looking out to the Skelligs. I will also have to make a highlights reel of my trip to Ireland so far. There have been some absolutely amazing places. There's the visitors centre. I was there yesterday and they were telling me that the boats weren't running. Well worth going to see what life was like on the Skelligs 1,000 years ago. Coming back into Portmagee now. It's time to go and get some lunch, have a pint and reflect on the great day I've had. As always, thank you so much for watching, especially if you've gotten to the end of this long ramble while we came back into port. Cheers then.